Hi, girls. Welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole. Today, we're actually going to be talking about something that I've been needing to get off my chest. Some of you guys who follow me on TikTok know exactly what I'm talking about, but we're going to start at the very beginning. We're going to talk about toxic friendships. We're going to talk about bitches who don't want to see you win. I can't wait to talk about this topic because it's something that literally just happened to me. It's something that I think is so relatable just based on the amount of questions I've received from you guys or scenarios or people who've commented on my TikTok when I talked about this certain story who said that they have experienced the same things or they've had a friend just like that. I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this because everybody talks about toxic relationships, but nobody talks about toxic friendships. And nobody talks about the fact that they are harder to walk away from, harder to get over. It's literally like a heartbreak. There are people in your life who don't want the best for you. And this year, I've really learned to let people go. This is the year of having a small circle, a smirkle, I like to call it. This is the year of shedding. This is the year of letting go of things that aren't serving you. I'm going to talk about a story that just proves the world will keep putting conflict and scenarios in your way until you realize it is time to let this person go. Things will continue to happen to the point that you are pushed and pushed and pushed to let somebody go. Somebody who's not meant to be in your life will not stay in your life, and the universe will make sure of that. And sometimes it takes a really long time, and that's okay because some people are put in your life to teach you something, and you always gain something from an experience like that. And I know it just really sucks to lose friends. But at the end of the day, it's going to serve you and you are going to be better off. I promise you, if there's one thing that you gain from this episode, if a friend is fading out of your life, if you lose a friend, if a friend does you dirty, if a friend does you wrong, it is all part of the process and you will be better off. Guaranteed. I just want to talk about this story about my ex-best friend. We're going to call her Jessica. If your name is Jessica, I'm so sorry if you have to listen to this podcast. No hate against you. I don't know why the name Jessica came to my brain, but it did. So when I first came to Miami, I had one acquaintance and I had no girlfriends. My guy friend put me in a group chat with a girl that he was friends with down here. He was like, I think you two would really get along, blah, 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 blah. Jessica, this is Nicole. Nicole, this is Jessica. And as soon as I moved to Miami, she was the first person that I reached out to, and me and her grabbed dinner. Immediately, like at dinner, it was like trauma dump. I had just gotten out of a toxic relationship. She had just gotten out of a toxic relationship. We literally just trauma dumped on each other like the entire dinner. And we became really quick friends. She was my only really girlfriend in Miami. So we did everything together and we lived really close. It was a very quick friendship. We clicked, like our personalities got along. I think we also just kind of helped each other through a time where we were both trying to distract ourselves. At the very beginning, everything was really good. I mean, I guess I just considered her my best friend because we hung out all the time. We spent a lot of time together. As time started to go on, I started to realize that our friendship was pretty surface level. When we spent a lot of time together, it was a lot of gossiping. It was a lot of her gossiping. She would always be like, what's the tea? What's the haps? What's the drama? What's this? What's that? She really loved to gossip. It was obviously never about me, at least not to my face, because she was always talking about other people. And I hate to gossip, especially now. I think like back then it was just, I don't know. I don't know why I surround myself with her, but I did. I started to realize like our friendship was pretty gossipy. She came to me for advice a lot of the time. She would have a lot of ups and downs. I was constantly her shoulder to lean on. She didn't have any other friends besides me, which did strike me as a little odd. But I didn't realize that until we were a little further into our friendship. Everybody that she, had in her life at that point was someone that I had introduced her to. As I got to know her more, and she started maybe to get more comfortable with me, she would start making these comments. She would make comments about her body a lot. She would make food comments a lot, just like, wow, I'm so fat, or I just ate this much, or I gained this much weight, or I haven't been able to eat because of this, or I want to lose 5 pounds. It was always something about her image. She was constantly pointing out like, oh my God, this person has like an amazing body. And the person was literally like invisible. And I was like, oh my God, okay. I didn't like hearing her talk about herself like that either. And it was a little bit triggering for me, actually a lot of bit triggering. And I would ask her, hey, can you not make those body comments because, I've had an eating disorder. It's not healthy for me to be around that. She would just continue to make comments. She would continue talking about her body. She never really stopped. I just learned to ignore it because I knew a lot of it was just a projection. I'm pretty secure in myself, so I would kind of just dodge those conversations when they came up or just not comment on them. She always had a boy problem. She would be, in these bad relationships with these guys. She would ask me for my advice. I would give it to her. I wouldn't sit there and give her like unsolicited advice. She would come to me and ask, so I'd give her my advice because she valued my opinion. So she said, I would come to her with certain problems that I was having, and it was judgment. It was always judgment. I told her a story one time. I saw this guy that I was talking to. We hung out, we hooked up, whatever. And she was like, wow, good for him that he's still getting away with that. And I was like, okay, fuck you. It enraged me that she would come to me for advice all the time, and I would never judge her for these situations that she was in. But as soon as I brought something to her, it was judgment. It came to a point where I was like, I'm not even going to tell you anything anymore. I don't want to tell you anything anymore. I don't feel safe coming to you and telling you things. I don't feel safe being vulnerable around you. I was just like, she's just not a friend that I go to about this stuff. I just didn't come to her with my issues, and I know how many insecurities she has, so I never really valued her opinion. I never came to her for anything. I guess I'll just be here for her. She got a boyfriend. As soon as she got a boyfriend, she stopped hanging out with me as much. She stopped texting me as frequently. One time specifically, we had a trip planned to go to LA together, or we were going to go to LA together, and we had talked about it. It was for my birthday trip. I wanted to go for 2 weeks. I wanted to do like an Airbnb with her for like a week, and then maybe stay with Jordan another week or something like that. Jordan's one of my friends who lives in LA. I came up to her and her boyfriend one day when they were outside, and they were like, oh, we just booked our Airbnb to LA. And I was like, oh, so I guess we're not doing LA together. Okay. But I was like, oh, but you'll be there and I'll be there. So that's cool. Like, whatever. We were in LA together. Didn't hear from her at all when we were both in LA at the same time. My birthday was around that time, and I wanted to plan a birthday dinner for me and a few of my friends in LA, her included. I didn't hear from her at all when she was in LA, even though we were literally staying very close to each other. And I texted her, I'm like, hey, can you just like mark this time off your calendar? Would love to see you just for my birthday dinner. She was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, wouldn't miss it for the world, blah, 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 blah. The day my birthday dinner comes, she cancels because she has a work thing. I'm like, that's bullshit. Whatever. Leave it at that. Come back, and it's kind of like same thing. Don't really see her much. Our friendship starts to fizzle out. Our friendship faded, and she would only ever come to me when times were bad. She would only ever come to me when she needed advice, or when they broke up, or when he was out of town. And at this point, I was kind of over the friendship. I would still hang out with her here or there, but I was starting to distance myself, and I was starting to be okay with that. A lot of my friends, I will say, like, didn't like her either. They always were like, I don't know how I feel about her. I don't know this, I don't know that. And I was like, guys, she's really not bad. Like, she's just going through some stuff. I was always giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm just that type of person. I give people the benefit of the doubt because I want to believe that she's a good person. I want to believe that our friendship that we had at the beginning was real, Like, I spent a lot of time with her. I loved her. She was my best friend. I was always defending her to people. I moved to LA. We didn't really talk. She would randomly swipe up on my stories though. Like, she would creep back in. She started making comments about my body. I posted a picture of me in LA at the gym, and she was like, wow, like, you went to LA and got like buff. All this like weird comments. And I'm like, who comments something like that about somebody? Also, who comments about somebody's body who had an eating disorder? It's very insensitive, it's rude, and it's weird. I've never commented on anybody's body who's my best friend, or I don't even know, a stranger. I wouldn't comment on somebody's body. I started to get really annoyed, and I started to be like, I don't want this person in my life. Really just stopped talking altogether. Then her and her boyfriend broke up. I haven't talked to her in months at this point. She sends me like 5 voice memos explaining everything to me, crying to me, all this stuff. I let her back in. I feel sorry for her. I give her my attention. I give her my advice. She apologizes to me. I agree to be like, hey, like, I would obviously love to have you back in my life if you can be a good friend. I welcome you with open arms. She was like, yes, I'm trying to change. I told her the things that bothered me about our friendship. Nothing changes, of course. It's good for a couple days, and then it's the same thing. I just started to feel like her punching bag. She only ever wanted anything to do with me when things were going bad in her life, or when things were going bad in my life. She never supported me. I noticed that she stopped following me on TikTok at one point. Don't know when that happened. She wouldn't like my Instagram posts. She wouldn't reshare anything of mine. She would never really ask about things that I was up to or my career. She would say weird passive aggressive comments like, what do you even do all day? What does a day in the life of Nikki look like? But it wasn't in the cute way. It was in a way that was really passive aggressive and hinting at you don't really do anything. I ignored these comments because I genuinely thought that she didn't realize she was being rude. Like, I really thought that she was unaware of how she was coming across. Just kept trying to make excuses for her. I kept trying to believe and convince myself that she was a good person and that she was a good friend. I wanted to believe that she didn't mean me any harm. As these instances like kept coming up, I was like, no, this is weird. Because I would tell my other friends, I'd be like, am I reading into this wrong, or did I hear this wrong, or is this weird? And they'd be like, no, Nicole, that's weird. I would never say that to you. I'm like, wow, you're actually right. That is really weird. And it started to make me realize that whenever I was doing good, or whenever I was excited about something, or whenever I was starting to feel good about myself, she would constantly make these little comments to try to drag me down or bring me down, or to make me feel insecure. And I realize it's because she didn't want me to do the things that she couldn't do. She didn't want to see me grow. She didn't want to see me get the things that I wanted. She didn't want to see me succeed. She wanted to keep me at her level or below her. She's so insecure in the fact that she can't be the person that she wants to be, or that she can't have the things that she wants. She has such a bad relationship with herself that she doesn't want to see me have a healthy relationship with myself, have a healthy relationship with somebody else, or want to see me succeed or do amazing in my career. And these are things that your best friend should want for you. I just kept trying to be the bigger person. I kept trying to be like, Jessica's really, going through something. Jessica's really insecure. Jessica's projecting onto me. Jessica's been through some things. Jessica's hurting. I was enabling her because I wanted to keep her in my life. For some reason, I wanted to keep her in my life. And that's when I started to realize that it was a toxic cycle. That's when I started to realize that it was an insecure attachment on my end. I was constantly feeling on edge or uneasy with her. The energy was always weird. I would find myself rereading texts that I sent her, deleting texts, feeling weird about, certain things that I said, reading into things that she was saying, walking away from hanging out with her and thinking, did that go well? Or like, did I say too much? Should I not have said that? Could she have perceived that wrong? I was leaving interactions feeling anxious. And I almost felt the need to after you hang out with a friend, you need to sometimes, if you don't know them that well, or sometimes you just feel the need to text them and be like, hey, love you so much, or it was this weird insecure attachment. And I was constantly trying to prove myself to her, or prove that I was a good friend to her, prove that our friendship was real. Because when she came to me and she was like, I really value your opinion, I need your advice on this, it made me feel good. I was like, okay, so she's not mean. So she doesn't hate me. So she does want the best with me. Okay, you wouldn't value someone's opinion who you look down on. So it was these times that I would let her back in and I'd be like, yeah, of course I'm here for you. I'm your best friend. Of course I'm going to be here for you. She was never there for me. She was a taker. Leads me to the most recent thing that happened was when I moved back to Miami. Me and her rekindled a little bit. We went to dinner. We had a good time. And I was starting to be like, okay, maybe she turned a new leaf because she broke up with this toxic boyfriend. I told her, I'm not going to be your friend if you're still with him. Sorry, that's just my personal boundary. That's where I draw the line because I know too much about him. I know how he treats you and I care about you. And I don't want to see you as somebody like that. So I drew the line there. And she told me that she wasn't seeing him, yada, yada, yada. Word got around that Jessica was talking to one of our mutual friends about me. She brought me up to our mutual friend and said, did you notice that Nikki gained a lot of weight? And it wasn't a way that was she cared about me or worried. Let's say if I gained 50 pounds, sure, maybe let's be like, all right, is everything okay? That's a little bit out of character for you. But it was just in a way of did you know Nikki gained weight? And it was in a really rude way. She proceeds to call me fat, and that's pretty much it there. My friend was completely taken aback. I know you guys were commenting on my TikTok, why does she feel comfortable though talking to your friend, your mutual friend, about you? And I can see how people would think that was a little bit weird. But the mutual friend was somebody who I had been friends with, but kind of cut off at a certain point as well, because she just brought some drama into my life at a certain point. I always kind of kept her at arm's length. And when I came back to Miami, me and her caught up, and I noticed like, wow, like she's really changed and matured. Like she's somebody who I enjoy spending time with. I would love to let her back into my life slowly. And I don't think that Jessica realized how close me and her were becoming. And I think she was also jealous and insecure of me and her's friendship. I think for Jessica to try and see, whose side she's on, or just try to get a leg up on me or belittle me in front of my friend to make her feel good about herself. So she brought that up and felt comfortable saying that to her. Of course, she immediately came to me and told me. And that's when I was like, I'm done. That is malicious and that is mean. At least all the other mean comments she's ever said to me were to my face. But to now go behind my back and talk about me, you're not somebody who I want in my life. I actually blocked her. I didn't text her or anything. She's a waste of my energy. She's a waste of my breath. I should have let her go a long time ago. Plenty of people told me that. I kept giving her too many chances. And this was the one scenario finally that it really stuck. And I was like, this is not somebody who I need in my life, especially this year when I'm trying to level up, when I'm growing, when I'm trying to build my brand, when I have all these positive things going for me. I do not need that negative energy in my life. I need people who support me. I was just so ready to let her go. And I was actually so happy that this happened, because maybe I would have let her back in again, or at least stayed within my energy. This was a case where I was like, that's it. I'm going to block her on everything. I don't have to say any last words to her. I don't need to try to wrap this up with a pretty little bow. She sent a text message to our mutual friend, asking me not to talk about her on TikTok. So we're going to talk about her on the podcast, obviously. If you're going to talk about me behind my back, sorry, I'm going to talk about you to a camera. And it's things that I would say to your face too. People come into your life as a blessing or a lesson. Somebody told me that. I think you guys told me that actually. She was definitely a lesson. She was somebody who I should have let go a long time ago. And I realize now that it is my fear of abandonment, and it's my idea that I'm not worthy of unconditional love. I feel like I was constantly trying to prove to her that I was a good friend, that I was worthy. When you think of like abandonment issues and abandonment trauma, a lot of times people just correlate that to relationships. And I have to heal this to have a good relationship with either a boyfriend or a girlfriend. But I had to heal that part of myself to have good friendships and to make sure I'm surrounding myself by good people in my life. And she was somebody who showed me that it's not just relationships that can give you an insecure attachment. It's not just relationships that bring out an insecure attachment in you. It can also be friendships. And you can also get in a cycle with toxic friends as well. I really had to sit back and think, why am I allowing this person in my energy? Why am I not letting this person go? Why am I continuing to make excuses for them? If I am sitting here calling you my best friend and you haven't talked to me in a week, you only come to me when shit hits the fan. You are constantly making passive aggressive comments to me. I feel uneasy or weird around you. I can't share certain things with you. It's embarrassing for me that I'm calling you my best friend. It's embarrassing for my best friends who are actually amazing friends to me. And I'm putting you in the same category as them. You don't deserve that. I really had to reprogram what a best friend meant to me. I started to really look at my circle, and I was like, okay, who do I want around me when times are good? Who do I want around me when times are bad? Who's going to be there for me? Who has been there for me? Who has given me all the love and support in the world? Who do I feel comfortable going to about things? Who gives me a call and says, how's your day going? Who are the people that genuinely care about my well-being and want what's best for me and don't try to tear me down? I was cleaning out shop. I have let a lot of people go, and I feel amazing. I highly recommend decluttering your life of people who are not constantly uplifting you, people who you don't leave that interaction and feel inspired, feel happier, feel more energized, feel like that was just an even energy exchange. I cannot emphasize how important it is. The people who you surround yourself with are a reflection of you. That is 100% true. This is how you know when you need to walk away from a friendship. When you don't leave that interaction feeling better. When you start to feel like you're giving more than you are getting. When you feel like you can't be yourself, you have to hide things from them. When your friends don't like them. If you just never feel like you know where you stand with them. It could be very hot and cold. And when they're only there for you when times are bad. Because misery loves company. Or they only come to you when times are bad for them as well. Being able to walk away from a friendship is really just about healing the relationship with yourself and knowing that it is not a reflection of who you are as a person. If a friendship fails, that doesn't mean you're a bad person, a bad friend. Some people just come in and out of your life. Some relationships ebb and flow. And just like relationships aren't supposed to last forever, some friendships aren't supposed to last forever. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Some people are just temporary characters to help you level up or to push you to grow and to become a better version of yourself. You gain something from every failed relationship, and I say failed in parentheses. People outgrow each other. I think that's completely normal. If you put me in a room with my best friends from high school, I don't think that I could relate to any of them really, or I don't think that they would be my best friends again. I think it would be a really missed opportunity if you kept the same circle of friends your entire life. If you never branched out, if you never met new people, you would really stunt your growth. And you really stunt your growth when you hold on to people who aren't meant to be in your life either. When the universe is trying to push somebody out of your life and tell you that they're not good for you, energy doesn't lie. If you're feeling like this person's not good for me, if in your gut you know that this friendship is not serving you, let them go. Don't fight it. Because the more that you fight it, the more that you are holding yourself back and the more conflict is going to arise. Because if they're not supposed to be in your life, the universe will make sure of that. The quicker that you can be okay with letting people go, the quicker that you are going to find the right people in your life, the more that you're okay with letting go of negative things, the more positive that's going to come into your life. The more that you keep reinforcing the universe, I like the positive energy, I like the positive people, the more of those people are going to enter your life, because usually positive people surround themselves with positive people. It's so important not to let your ego get in the way as well. Don't think, I need everybody to like me. I need everybody to feel like I'm their best friend. I need to maintain this friendship because I told everybody amazing things about this person, or I told everybody that they were my best friend. That's kind of where I felt like where I was at with Jessica. I had spoken so highly about her. I was constantly defending her that I was kind of like running back with my tail between my legs. Like, okay, guys, actually, she was really mean to me again. But you know what's amazing about my friends, about my real best friends in my life? They never judged me. They were so excited when I said Jessica's cut off. They said, thank God, good riddance. Bye, Jessica. And the fact that my friends were so happy about this, again, just goes to show that I held on to this way too long. If there is somebody in your life who is not serving you, who you feel like you should walk away from, I encourage you to let them go. Since I have let Jessica go, I have never felt better. I felt a weight off of my shoulders. I know that every single person in my smirkle has my back. I know that every single person has my best interests at heart. I am so grateful for the people that I have in my life. And it's really redefined, like I said, what a best friend is to me. I think when you're younger, especially when you're younger, you want to call people your best friends. You want to be quick to call somebody your best friend. As I get older, a part of needing a lot of people around me has died. I don't care to surround myself with a bunch of people. I prefer quality over quantity. I don't care to have 10 best friends in my life. It's just not possible. I don't think it's possible to have 10 really best friends in your life. There's only a handful of people that are your go-to always. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not being everybody's best friend. I'm really being careful not to throw around the term best friend loosely anymore. If you're my best friend, you're my fucking best friend. We are in constant communication. We uplift each other. We have unwavering support of one another. There's unconditional love. They are always available to me. I'm always available to them. I am not giving more than I'm getting. And our conversations are more than surface level. We are helping each other grow. We are helping each other become the best versions of ourselves. We push each other. We don't judge each other. That's a best friend. A best friend is somebody, and they don't have to be somebody that you spend every single day with. I have best friends who I'm long distance with, and we make an effort to call each other and keep in contact all the time and fill each other in on what's going on in our lives. And we talk about, we talk about deep shit. We talk about surface level shit. We talk about everything. A best friend is somebody that you can just go to with everything, and you don't have to hide any parts of yourself to that person. And I think it's completely normal to only have a few people in your life who you can do that with. Imagine you were doing that with everybody. I'd be exhausted. That's a sacred thing. It's a sacred bond, a best friend. And I used to throw around the term loosely. I don't feel bad now when, if you might just be my friend, and that's okay. You might just be considered a friend to somebody else. That's okay. You have a small circle. If you have one best friend, if your best friend's your mom, fine. Because that person has your back. I would rather surround myself with one person who fills up my cup, who brings out the best version of myself, than 10 people who make me feel watered down, who aren't making me a better version of myself, who I don't feel like I can rely on, who I don't feel like I can be myself with, who I feel like I have to prove myself to. I don't want to keep that in my life, because you keep those people in your life, you're not serving yourself. You're gaining nothing from that. The only thing that you're feeding is your ego. We need to be feeding our souls. We need to be feeding our happiness. It's up to you to set a boundary and to want better for yourself and to protect yourself. You are completely in control of who you allow in your life and at what capacity. The most valuable thing that we have is time. So who you choose to spend that time with, be selective. And it's also an investment. Like, you are investing in your friends as well. Invest properly. Invest in the right people. Invest in the people who want better for you. Invest in the people who want to see you win. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who lift you up, who, are doing amazing things, who are doing things that you want to do. You should never feel jealous energy from any of your friends, and you should never be jealous of your friends. If someone's jealous of you, that's their problem, not yours. There are times when maybe you don't align with somebody right now. Maybe you really enjoy them as a person, but maybe the friendship's just not ready. Maybe you both aren't ready and you fade out of each other's lives. Maybe you're really busy. Maybe you guys need space and time to breathe from each other, to grow, to change, and then you're going to come back to each other. Sometimes those are the best friendships, the ones that kind of don't work out at the beginning, but then you find your way back to each other. And if you guys naturally come back together, it's a beautiful thing. I had a friend just recently who I kind of separated myself from her because she was a little bit emotionally immature. She was bringing drama into my life. I didn't like it. So I removed myself from the situation, and we found our way back to each other. And now our friendship is better, way better than it could have been. And if we'd sat there and tried to force the friendship that entire time, we probably would have ended up resenting each other, hating each other, fighting, or just ending in a way that wasn't salvageable. But because we both took a step back from the relationship, and it was never ill will towards one another, it was just, we're not vibing right now. We're not able to fit into each other's lives because both of us aren't happy with ourselves or happy with our lives, or we both have a little bit of growing up to do. We both need to find ourselves a little bit. And if we're meant to be friends, then we will. It wasn't like a short time had passed either. I think it was probably about almost 2 years had gone by. Now we're able to come back to each other's lives, and she's grown up a little bit. I've changed. I've grown up. We're both really happy in the places that we're at in our lives right now. And I think that's why we're able to have a successful friendship, because when you're secure in yourself and what you have to offer, you are going to attract the right people who are also secure in themselves and what they have to offer. And it's going to be two whole people who uplift each other, not two people who are trying to one up each other or compete. There shouldn't be any like competitive aspect to a friendship. Relationships and friendships do take work. You do have to reach out to one another, but it shouldn't just be one person constantly calling or planning or checking in on the other person. You both have to be mutually doing that and mutually putting in effort for it to work out. Otherwise, one person's going to feel used or insecure. I wouldn't want a friend who I felt like I was constantly chasing. What is this? You're not like playing hard to get. We are friends. Like, sometimes without the bad, you don't realize how good the people are in your life. Without the bad, you can't see the good. Jessica was somebody in my life who made me realize, wow, how can I sit here and call her a best friend? And then also we'll say Livy, because you guys know Livy, my best friend. How can I sit here and call these two people my best friend when Jessica over here called me fat? I'm going to talk about Livy because some of you guys know her. She's really defined what it means to have a best friend again. And she's really defined what it means to have somebody in your life who supports you. And with her, I think it's just so obvious that she wants what's best for me because we do the same thing, because we're in the same industry. It could have been so easy for us to become friends and want to be like enemy closer type of thing, or get really competitive or jealous of one another's success. We're not jealous of one another. It's not a competition. We want to see the other person be successful. Her success is my success. Her happiness is my happiness. And I know the same thing goes for her. I can go to her for everything. And when I told her, like, I don't tell Jessica about this stuff, she was like, what? Isn't she your best friend? How could you not tell her this? And I'm like, well, she'd judge me. She's like, that's fucking weird, Nicole. That's weird. You should be able to tell your best friend anything. And I'm like, wait, you're actually right. I have gone to Livy with so much shit. I've told her good things. I've told her bad things. I've made mistakes. I've told her about my mistakes. I've gone to her crying about situations. She's someone whose opinion I really value. She's never once judged me for anything I've ever said. She's always supported my decisions, whether they be right or wrong, good or bad. She always just wants me to follow my heart and be happy. And if she thinks that something that I'm doing will make me happy, or if she knows that I'm following my heart, she's in full support. Of course, she'll draw a line if she ever feels like I'm really hurting myself, or if she ever feels like something really isn't serving me, she'll tell me how it is. She's not just a yes man, but she lets me live my life and she lets me be myself. She lets me show up as I am and she accepts me as I am. It's so refreshing to have somebody in my life like that. We also had a very quick friendship and she was someone who just fit into my life immediately. I couldn't be more thankful to have her in my life. And a lot of my friends I'm so thankful to have in my life who support me every single day. There's nothing embarrassing about having a small circle. There's nothing embarrassing about having one or two best friends. Pay attention to the people around you. Pay attention to the people who are around you when things are going good and when things are going bad. And then you tell me who your best friends are. At the end of the day, if this leaves you with no best friends, just know that you have me. I'm always here for you. I love you. Chat next week.